So without further ado, let's go to the Hall of Famer. Let's go to the man himself. There he is, the five-time WCW champion, Booker T. Now, Booker, thank you so much for doing this, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just always working, always working.
Well, look at this setup that you have over here. This is amazing. This is in your house?
Yeah. This is my home studio here. You know, got Muhammad Ali here to the right, and actually right behind me right here. This is me and the champ right here. And, you know, but this is my little room here. Okay,
well, I want to ask you about all this, but I need to sort of, address the elephant in the room here, Book, because in a previous life, you know about this. Like sometimes you run in the wrong circles, right? And there's people who are bad influences in your life. I used to run in a circle with a guy named Daniel Cormier. You may be familiar. He was a bad influence in my life. He would egg me on. He would try to get me into fights, on his behalf. And so, I may have said some things and I may have poked you and stuff, but it was all out of like that was all him. Right. So I apologize. Right. That was all DC, just for the record.
No apology necessary, man. That's what men do, man. Men are very confrontational. Everybody always talk about when they hear about a fight happening in the locker room, and they sound surprised about it. And I'm like, man, come on, it's a lot of testosterone flying around. Fights do happen sometimes when you got men involved, and I look at us both as men.
That's right. Alpha males, dare I say. He's a beta, we're alpha, and he was trying to egg me on to start a beef with you, and I just want to let you know that was all him. I had nothing to do with it, and I was kind of being used as a puppet. I've seen my ways now, and so man to man, I just wanted to say I am sorry for the things that I said.
I'm going to catch up with DC sooner or later, man. He seemed to be ducking me, man, but I'm going to catch up with him. Because I just want to have a conversation.
Oh. Did you see him at the event? I saw you tweet him.
Yeah, I didn't run into him or anything. He was busy, man. He was running all over the place, and I totally understand when you're in that environment right there and you're in that work mode. You're always about business.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, I'm happy that we addressed that off the top. I'm very happy that you're here, and I have to say, I'm watching the post-fight press conferences and whatnot, and I obviously hear your voice. You're asking great questions back there. So, and I know you do the show with Brad. ESPN Radio 97.5, the Hall of Fame. You guys talk MMA and pro wrestling. But why did you want, you're freaking Booker T, man. You're a legend. Why did you want to sit with the media and not, in the stands and just enjoy the fight?
Well, actually, the media got the best seats in the house, man. I mean, we're cage side.
That's right.
Of his media. That's something I've always had a passion for, is boxing, MMA, just combat sports in general. I'm sure someone asked Frank Sinatra, why was he a photographer at Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier's fight? I'm sure it was because he loved it. I don't think it was because of the money or anything like that. And for me, just say, for instance, I know what my career was all about, and it was trying to make people feel a certain way. And when I watch those guys, they make me feel a certain way. So for me to, just be a part of that world up close and personal, it's a dream come true.
Wow. When you see Izzy's reaction to you like that, right? Like he is genuinely excited after his big fight that he is talking to you, that you're there asking him a question. How does that make you feel?
Humbled. In a word, just because it takes sometimes guys like that to keep guys like me relevant. And I understand that. I get it. It's just like Bad Bunny, writing the song Booker T and then winning the Grammy. That just opened up a whole different genre. And I'm humbled. So for Izzy to actually, pay respect to Booker T, it just lets me know how I made him feel as a young kid growing up. Hopefully one day, hoping to aspire just like I did.
Do you ever see his spin-a-rooney? He's got a solid spin-a-rooney.
Oh, yeah. You could tell he was a fan, though. You could tell he loves, I wouldn't just say, what I did for him, but just the game of professional wrestling, entertainment. He's a performer. He's the Muhammad Ali of the MMA world. And I tell you, he's a generational talent. They only come along few and far between.
So what did you think of his fight, his performance? Some said, it wasn't so entertaining. Some even thought, some like fighters thought Whitaker won. You were up there, cage side. What did you think of it?
I mean, it was a close fight. I can't sit here and say it wasn't a close fight. It was very strategic. You could tell Whitaker went and changed a whole lot in his game, and he didn't want to go out the same way he did in the first fight. And you could tell, Israel, he was very, very cautious as far as his approach. He didn't want to get caught with anything either. So it was just a technical fight, but that's the way fights are. Every fight is not going to be that spectacular knockout or anything like that. Every fight is not going to be that fight that we look back in history and say, man, it was great. But the fighter, which I understand, it's all about walking out with a W.
Right. And I thought he did enough. Did you score it for him? Based on what you saw?
Yeah, I did. I scored it for him just because I didn't think the takedowns from Whitaker was enough. He didn't actually establish the takedown enough or do enough when he actually got the takedown for me to actually sway in his way as far as that goes.
Did you guys talk afterwards at all, like privately? Did you see him at the after the press conference? Any words exchanged?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked, man, and it was real cool, man. Just how much I respect him. And he, like I say, he was a big fan, as you could tell. I knew he was. I'm one of those guys to where I know what those guys are feeling after a fight or after a big show. Man, you ready to get out of there? You ready to get to the hotel?
Right.
Or you ready to get out to the bar and hang out and party? But I just want to pay my respects for a second and say, man, it was awesome to sit here and watch you fight, and then to get a chance to ask a question to the champ as well was really, really cool for me.
It was great, and his reaction to the question was tremendous as well. Just to see how he was shocked that you were there, and he was like, "What am I hallucinating here? This is great." What did you think of Houston's own Derek Lewis? I was shocked by that finish. I saw you ask Dana White a question about Derek Lewis as well. What did you think of that fight?
Yeah, Derek, he's always been a guy that's going to come in and swing and bang. And my question was, maybe I formulated the question wrong. And it wasn't that I didn't think Derek Lewis had did a whole lot in the UFC. I just thought that every time he's gotten to that moment that's going to put him over the top. He's come up just a little bit short, taking nothing away from Derek Lewis or anything like that. But Tai Tuivasa, man, like he said at the press conference, he's young, he's hungry in the fight game, man. Any man that walk in that cage on any given Saturday night could be a winner or a loser, and Tai came to fight that night.
When you see Tai doing his thing, do you get flashbacks of Stone Cold back in the day? I mean, it's very Stone Cold-esque in the shoe as opposed to, straight out of the can. But it looks a lot like the whole vibe is Stone Cold, right?
No, man, he's an entertainer. And the guys in the business, the guys in the business that, catapult themselves to the next level, they got to be able to go out and make you, all eyes on me. You gotta notice me. I gotta do something. And it's gotta be something outside of the square circle or the octagon. And Tai Tuivasa is definitely he's putting himself on the map, man. He's a hell of a dude. Coming
out to Cyndi Lauper, girls just want to have fun, things like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. See, the thing is, like, my fandom, as far as MMA is concerned, is born from pro wrestling. Like, I was a pro wrestling fan first. And so what I am drawn to are the characters, right? The personalities, the characters, the people who stick out. And that's why it drives me crazy. And I wonder if you look at it through the same lens. When you see them all wearing the same thing, they're all, they're in a uniform, so no one can stick out. Imagine if, you and Stevie Ray back in the day are wearing the same thing as, the Rock and Roll Express, and Ric Flair can't wear his outfit and he looks like Hulk. You can't do that in the fight game, right?
You know what? You can sum it up in this right here, just alone. I don't think we would look at Tito Ortiz's career if it wasn't for the Tito Ortiz that we remember.
Right.
I don't think so. I really don't. The flag, the hat, you know what I mean? All of that for me, that's what made MMA what it was back in the day. Chemo. I mean, can you picture that? Chemo walking out with the cross on his back? For me, that's what I remember about the UFC, as well as the great combat. Let's not forget about that as well.
Sure. Chuck Liddell also with those shorts, with the ice and all that. So it bums me out that they've stripped the fighter. So when a guy like Tai can break through and be, a fan favorite. It speaks a lot to his power. Can I ask, since is he, who's your favorite fighter right now? Is Izzy up there, or is there someone else above him?
Adesanya, he's probably my favorite fighter right now, just because he is the most dynamic. He's the guy that, you want to, lay eyes on no matter, where you're at or who he's fighting. Of course, John Jones is a guy that's very captivating, and you don't want to miss anything that he's doing, but he's been out of the picture so long. We don't know what John Jones we're going to see when he does come back,
Right.
if he does come back. So Izzy would be the guy.
Yeah, you think John at heavyweight is a good idea?
Well, any way you can make some money is a good idea.
Sure, that is true.
As well as John Jones, he's always been the best. He's always been the best, and until someone can prove us wrong, no matter when he come back, if he come back, he's going to be the favorite, no matter who he fights. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe.
So with Izzy, we saw a guy, Jared Cannonier, right before the Lewis fight, win in a big way against Derek Brunson. You think Jared has a chance against Izzy?
Man, a puncher's chance. Every fighter got a chance when they go in that octagon. Go back to Matt Serra, okay?
Yeah.
No one ever thought in a million years he was going to win that fight, but he went in there with a puncher's chance, and that's all it took. One big punch. Cannonier can win that fight just because, man, he's a dog. He's not going to quit. Brunson had that fight won. On all scorecards, Brunson had that fight won, but that's what you cannot predict in the fight game, is how it's going to end up if you don't get that guy out of there, and Cannonier proved it. It's going to be a tough fight for Cannonier against Izzy, just because he's not going to be in any one spot at any given time to be hit, and he's going to be on offense the whole time. That's the problem with Izzy.
So right now, I was talking about this not that long ago. I like to compare the two industries, MMA and pro wrestling. And I think there's more similarities, honestly, between MMA and pro wrestling as opposed to MMA and boxing, just by the way the sport is constructed. There's one big organization and then there's others. Which do you think is more interesting right now? Which of the two industries is doing better in your opinion?
Between MMA and wrestling?
Yeah.
Man, I look at the two so separately,
Okay.
I just do, just because the UFC and what it brings to the table in professional wrestling. Only way I look at professional wrestling and MMA along the same lines is where professional wrestling has to try to really walk that tightrope as far as trying to make it real, and we know it's entertainment, but still trying to suspend the imagination of the fan to buy in. I think that right there is where wrestling and MMA come into play. But as far as fan base from wrestling, MMA, it's totally different. I really think it's totally different. Even though we got a lot of fans on both sides, I'm a fan. But I think MMA fans, man, it's a different feeling in the arena for MMA. It's a different feeling in the arena for boxing. It's a totally different feeling for professional wrestling as a professional wrestler.
I guess the question that I had was, with WWE doing its thing, and now there's, some competition, right? And I think competition breeds success. Rising tide lifts all boats. That, to me, gives the sport a buzz. I mean, when you were in WCW and, they were trying to go after WWF at the time, it feels like UFC is lacking that right now. Like, fans don't view, Bellator doesn't have the passionate fan base that AEW has, right? And so they're not like this conflict. That's what I mean about when I say I think wrestling is more interesting than MMA right now, because at least there's this sort of, debate going on, and there's these fans who are saying our guys are better than your guys, that type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think MMA really is, especially the UFC, they're, rolling in their own lane, just like the Cyril Gunn and Francis Ngannou fight. I always say, they're kind of like WWE. People talk about, well, the ratings aren't like it used to be, but they got, contracts all over the world. And I think that's where the UFC is really trying to stake their flag, like they're champions. They want international champions that's representing countries around the world, so they can, that's just my opinion,
Sure.
So they can make the most money at the end of the day, of the day that they possibly get. I don't think it's about the fighter anymore and their flag and representing their brand and whatnot. I think it's about the shield, like the NFL.
I agree with that as well. The brand name, the UFC, those three letters. For you on a Saturday night, big WWE or wrestling event, big UFC event, which as a fan do you enjoy more?
As a fan, man, I got to say UFC or boxing, just
Wow.
because I have a passion for it. I love being in, that environment. It just is something totally different to watch the gladiators go inside. It takes a different type of person. They're different than you and I.
Yeah.
That's willing to walk in that cage with 20,000+ people watching, the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. That right there for me, it doesn't get any bigger than that. That's the gladiators. That's Caesar and all of that stuff back in the day, and the Coliseum. It's real as it possibly could be, man, and it doesn't get any better. Seriously, I had such a great time at the fights just this weekend, and I tell you, I can't wait to the next one. Like Dana said, Texas, Florida.
Yeah.
I'll be there in Texas.
I love it. Now, when you were in your prime, did you train did you do boxing? Did you do any type of MMA to stay in shape?
I actually trained. I wanted to be a boxer, and I started training, and I actually got an opportunity to be a professional wrestler before I actually had a real fight or anything like that.
Wow.
And I'm kind of glad.
Oh,
Because the fight game is rough, and most of those guys, just even though it's like that in professional wrestling, those guys do not leave unscathed.
yeah.
And it could be a hell of a deal after their careers. That's why I'm an advocate for the fighter as well. I think these guys should get paid, as much money as they possibly can make for those fights they go out there and have, because it is a life or death situation every time they step in there.
Yeah, this is a hot topic in MMA right now, fighter pay. Do you ever foresee a time when the fighters can band together and have a little more of a say like the NFL players do, the NBA players do, etc.?
You know what? I don't think it's going to come to that. I think it's going to end up being somewhat like boxing. You're going to have a certain promoters and certain agents working for you to make you the most money. And it's always going to be kind of like professional wrestling. The top guys are going to be the guys that's going to be making the most money. It's just always going to be like that. But to be able to negotiate when you are good, when you are the top guy, you should get paid that money. When your name is on the marquee, like that, like we always used to tell The Rock, thanks for the house, brother. You know what I mean? It's no different. And I think those fighters should get treated no differently.
That's a very fair point. Well said. How do you feel about the road to WrestleMania right now? Are you interested? What are you most interested in? This is, you're also a part of the pre-shows with my good friend, Mr. Peter Rosenberg. I know you guys watched Royal Rumble together in St. Louis at the Steakhouse. He was talking about that on his podcast. Sounds like a great time. How do you feel about, because I'm not breaking any news to you, Royal Rumble, I think, was kind of met with mixed reviews with Brock and Ronda, who happen to be two former UFC fighters coming back and doing their thing and winning the Royal Rumble. How do you feel about, the buzz going into the biggest show of the year?
You know what, man? It's kind of crazy. I've been doing this for so long now. I'm going into my 31st year in professional wrestling, and WrestleMania for me has always been, that time of year where we come out and we celebrate, we have a great time, we have a great show at the same time. And for me, I'm still at that stage right now. I love being around it. I love watching the young guys come up and do their thing. And I'm going to be there to make sure I give my words of wisdom as far as what's going on. But I got a lot going on that weekend myself. Reality Wrestling, we got four shows going on. With World Class Pro, and we got an all-women show, the first inaugural Sherry Martel Classic. So I got a lot of work going on. I'm sure I'm going to have WWE duties as far as autograph signings and whatnot. So when I do that that time of year, it's time to put my hard hat on, go to work, get the work done, and get the thing over with, so we can get to next year and do it all over again.
Fair enough. Do you like the role that you're in the company, or would you like to be doing other stuff? Like, how content are you with the role? Because right now, correct me if I'm wrong, you do the pre-shows, and that is that it? Do you work in the back as well?
No, I just do the kickoff show.
Yeah.
I got a few other opportunities on the table that I'm getting ready to start doing here in a little bit with WWE. But I got my wrestling school. I got the radio show. I'm part of a betting site. I got like so much stuff going on right now. It's not even funny. I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I don't want to stop. I'm so content being where I am right now, and I think I'm more so content because this has been my plan. I never had a plan in life as far as how I was going to make it. But once I found myself in the door, and I got into WCW. I remember I was 30 years old and I was trying to figure out how I was going to retire, what I was going to do next. And this is it. People say, like I say, see me there in the media room, asking questions. I'm not doing it because of the money or anything like that. But I realized those correspondents, those guys they call journalists, those guys make a lot of money. So I say, let me try to see if I can finagle my way into that, because I think, in the press corps, my questions was just as good as any journalist
Yes.
that was asking questions. I think I was able to relate with the fighters more so than the journalists. So I think I fit right in. I fit in perfectly.
You want to do more of that?
Oh, I'm going to be at pretty much all of the fights doing that. That's my job going forward to get as much content as I possibly can and find myself into a different role and still try to, have fun in life and smile every day. Life is the hardest thing you're ever going to deal with in life. It really is. And if you can figure it out, it ain't so bad.
Are there any guys in the back or girls in the back at WWE right now that you have kind of taken under your wing that maybe you're not working in an official capacity as a producer or agent, but you said you were going to go in the back, talk to some youngsters, things like that? Are there any ones that you are working with and helping along the way?
I'm more so often to working with the talent that's trying to get to the next level. Like, one of my girls just debuted on AEW Dynamite with Jade Cargill. Her name's AQA. And they just, signed her to a contract. It's really, really cool. One of my girls, Roxy, WWE just signed her. She was my youngest champion in reality of wrestling. Started with me at fantasy camp. She was at 13 years old. Her dream was to be the reality of wrestling champion. I got, guys out there floating around all over the world right now. And that's my passion. Literally, that's my passion. Just working with young guys from a in-ring perspective, from a mental perspective, from just a life perspective. I don't know why, but it gives me purpose.
Oh yeah, I bet. And when you have these young people like turn into, stars on the roster or make it, I'm sure as a proud, you're almost like a proud father seeing them kind of graduate. By the way, Sherry Martel Classic, that sounds amazing. I mean, I know she was a part of your, career early on. So you're going to have an all women's show and the winner will be crowned the first ever, as you said. Did you say Sherry Martel? That's what you refer to her as?
Yeah, Sherry Martel inaugural. Invitational. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, Mister Sherry. Was really, really close to me, near and dear to my heart. I was there with her all the way to the end, and I think she would be, proud to, have something like this in her memory. So for me, to be able to do it is so awesome because Sherry Martel, she was special to me and as well as so many other people. And I think the fans are going to get a big kick out of this. So yeah, it's going to be awesome going down on Saturday morning down in Dallas, Junction City. So go to the website, go to realityofwrestling.com and get your information. It's going to be on Fight TV as well.
Oh, nice.
So if you're not there, you can still be able to see it as well.
Any of your kids want to follow in your footsteps?
My son, he's a big wrestling fan. My daughter, she's off into it as well. But they're not at that stage right now. From the wrestling side, they are there from the business side. I have my son with me in the war room, listening to the angles, knowing what it really, really means to be a general and take charge. And not just that, but to know that you got to have a great team around you in order to make it work. My daughter more so is ready to, get in the ring and run. But my son, I'm teaching him the business side because I really don't have any aspirations or dreams for him to be a professional wrestler.
Okay. Two last quick things for you, if I may. I remember when you transitioned over from WCW to WF or WWE, and the hair was growing a little. I've always wanted to ask you this: is this still the same byproduct of the hair? Like when you had the hair kind of growing out a little bit, have you not cut it since then?
I haven't cut it since then, man.
Damn.
21 years of hair right here. I'm trying to hold on to it and top. You know what I mean, man? They always say that's the first to go, and it's getting a little thin up there, but I work on it like it's a chia pet.
Wow. Why did you let it grow?
God got the clip. You know what? I have a saying, if you don't know how to keep up with the times will pass you by. I can honestly say this, and I believe it 100%. If I still had the flat top and the fade with the little mustache, I don't think you and I would be having this conversation right now. I would have faded away. I would have, blended in with all the other old guys. And for me, I'm always trying to stay relevant because in this life, you don't have to be the top guy. You don't have to be top of the food chain. If you just stay relevant, everything will be all right.
Wow. Okay. And how often are those like braided, or is that like
it doesn't move.
It doesn't move.
It's locked in. I don't touch it. I say God got the clippers. You know what I mean? And when he get ready to use them, I'll be ready to sit out in that chair.
One of your most famous moments, of course, was the grocery store match against Stone Cold, or not a match, but like just the whole, whatever you want to call it.
It was a match.
It was a match. Okay, fine. If you want to call it that. What do you remember most of? Like, is there something that we didn't see about that shoot, about that day, that fans would get a kick out of? Because still, all these years later, people are talking about. People love them. It's incredible.
I think that's what's different about what wrestling is today. I love the business. I love what we did back then and how we tried to create and make fans feel a certain way. Today is totally different. It's kind of toxic, and the fans make it that way as well. But back then, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was a legitimate badass, and then you got Booker T, who's a legitimate badass. And we're doing an angle where Stone Cold Steve Austin is chasing me all over the place. He chased me in a bingo hall. He chased me in a confessional, and then he finally caught me in a grocery store. What the hell? Why would Stone Cold and I be at the grocery store together at the same time? We don't live in the same neighborhood, so how the hell that happened? But back then, it was all about going out there and making those fans feel a certain way. We got the script, and we said, let's see if we can make this the best script we possibly can. Let's enhance it. Let's just go outside of ourselves and have some fun and be stupid. This business is one of those businesses where you got to be able to laugh at yourself. I've always been able to laugh at myself and because, hey, I'm having fun. I'm a kid that grew up in the ghetto. Meals were hard to come by. And when I got in the business, hey, everything was pretty good. So for us to go out there and create magic that we didn't know was going to last this many years later, but we knew, man, let's just go out here and do the best we possibly can and have the stupidest fun one could ever have and see what we create. And 20 years later, it's still something.
It's crazy.
Kids didn't even watch my career. They watched that video and they know who I am and they like me. It's crazy.
That is crazy, considering all that you've done. By the way, how does that work? Do they shut down the place and then they pay for everything after? Because you guys, you wrecked that place.
Yeah, man. I don't know how much the bill was. Yeah. I always wonder what the bill was as far as that shoot. But it was one take, It
really?
was action. It was, I'm serious. It was action, man. And we just started going, man. And we went all the way through that store, all the way through the back, all the way out. Stone Cold Steve at Austin, price check on the Jackass. All of that was improv. Everything was improv. It was stupid. And I say, if they did that same shoot today, it'll be a script, like 3 pages. It will be like 5 cameras. It'll be a lighting crew. It was none of that, man. It was just camera, action, go. And that's what we created.
Man, what a legend you are. Massive respect for you, Booker T. Thank you so much. I'm happy we buried the hatchet. I just want to let you know, if you're mad at me for anything, it's all DC's fault, all right? It's all DC's fault. He made me do it. That Benedict Arnold, okay? He's the bad influence.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. I'm glad we buried the hatchet too, man, because you always been one of my favorite guys, man. You always been one of those guys that's been gracious every time we've asked you to come on the show and give us some wisdom. You've always been there for us, so, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I don't hold any of the things you said about me and my physique. I mean, I forgot all about it. Just to let you know, it's water under the bridge, Booker. It's water under the bridge. Much love, my man. Thank you.
You got it, bro. Holla back.
All right, there he is. Booker T, the legend, the 5-time WCW champion.